Hello and welcome back for the second chapter of How to Draw Loomis Head. My name is Bobby and I am a multimedia artist. I am learning from artists throughout the world and I'm also a corporate worker just to fund my dreams. If you haven't watched the first chapter, I will ask you to watch that so you have a understanding of what is coming next. So in this video, we are going to learn about 3 topics from the Loomis Head book. That is the rhythmic lines, the proportion of the male head, and the features of the face. So let's get started. Now, the first thing that comes in our mind while we hear about rhythmic lines is rhythm. So every moving object or a thing has a rhythm in it. And while an artist draws or paints, you can see the rhythmic pattern or rhythmic lines in his or her arm movements as well. We need to sense this rhythm and learn how to be better in drawing these rhythmic lines. So we can draw or copy our drawings, the contours of our drawings in a better and more dynamic way. So some examples of the rhythmic lines can be the flow of the wind. Remember how we used to draw the flow of the wind while we were kids, and the hairs of women flowing in the air. That texture can only be achieved if we have a good knowledge of rhythmic lines. Now let's move ahead and learn how to practice these rhythmic lines. Try grabbing your pencil with just 2 fingers and this thumb. Okay, we do not need to grab it tight like we do while writing. Just try to keep it loose. These figure drawings that I have done are by the rhythmic lines. I started drawing the rhythmic line like the body is flowing toward this angle, right? So I'll draw this angle here. You see, I'm keeping the pencil very loose and then trying to do the contours of this drawing. And I'll draw the axis line of this. These are so loose lines that you can see. These are the rhythmic lines. Then I'll move ahead and try to draw this figure itself. So I'll just move on with the rhythmic lines first. And then I'll go ahead and darken the body, the contour of this piece. Same, you don't need to go directly to these figure drawings or some complex contours. Just try to practice doing some easy geometrical shapes as well using the same rhythmic lines. Okay, you can see the flow of, you can draw the flows of the hair strands, the air. Just keep in mind the rhythmic lines. Okay, if you see a running man, just try to make the contours in the rhythmic lines. I see this is the middle line here passing through his waist. This is his upper body and his legs going backwards, and this one coming in the front. This is how we can practice the rhythmic lines. Keep practicing this, and now let's move on to the proportion of the male head. These proportions that we are going to learn ahead in this video aren't meant to fit every person perfectly, but this will provide a reliable framework for most of the heads, and also it will make construction much easier. So let's look at it by the diagrams from the Loomis book itself. So an average simplified head can be thought of 3 units wide and 3.5 units tall. And the eyes lies exactly between the top of the head and the bottom of the chin. While the smaller divisions helps us to locate the nose and the mouth accurately. Let me explain how. From between the eyes, if we bring a straight line downwards, you can get the corner of the lips. Same exactly we can see from this side as well. And if we bring a straight line from the sides of the eyes, we get the side of the nose. And exactly same at this side. Front of the face is divided into three equal parts. Those are the hairline to the eyebrow line, then the brow line to the nose, the bottom of the nose, and from bottom of the nose to the bottom of the chin. Again, these proportions won't be fitting every individual perfectly, but this will help us provide a reliable framework which works best for the heads and helps us in the construction. You can see the side view as well here. The eyes are in the between from the top of the head to the bottom of the chin. Then it's divided into three equal parts, that is the hairline to the brow line to the bottom of the nose, and the bottom of the nose to the bottom of the chin. And again, it's 3 units wider and 3.5 units tall. Now this system pairs especially well with the ball and plane method that we have learned on our previous video, because it gives us a simple structure to build on before adding any individual features and character. Now if we copy this in our ball and plane format, it will just go like this. I'll just quickly draw the ball. You can see the rhythmic lines, right? Here's the ball, there's the slice on the sides, right? I'll just slice it quickly. And from the middle of this ball, we have our eyebrow line. Let's draw these units above here, okay? So let's say these are the 3 units. Now, when we bring our jaw in, here would be the nose, this would be the middle line. When we bring the end of the chin, then I'll bring in our jaw quickly. Now that you can see, this has been narrowed down. Now if we see the units here, it would be around 2 units. From this we find that the face is about 2 units wide from the bottom, and it's 3 units wide from the top, and that the eye line is in between the top of the head and the bottom of the chin. So now that we know this, let's move on to the features of the face. So now that we have a solid understanding of the head's proportion and construction, we can begin placing the facial features on these. Now think of the eyes, nose and mouth not as isolated details, but as forms that sits above these proportion and the underlying structure. Now this placement is guided by the proportional landmarks that we have already established, like the brow line, the eye line, the chin. I'll quickly darken this a bit. Now you know that the ears lies between the brow line and the bottom of the nose. This would be around this long, and I can quickly add up the hairline here. Right. And this will be top of the head. Now we'll place in the features quickly. So this is a brow line. I'll add up the eyebrow here. Even if you are not good at drawing eyes, nose, and lips at this point, it is perfectly fine, because at this stage our goal isn't to study the contour or expressions. We're simply learning where these features belong and how they relate to the longer forms. Now, understanding the structure first makes the feature placement far more accurate. So like we checked on our last, while we were learning proportion, that the side of the nose can be drawn from the side of the eyes. So here we can place our nose. And if we want the sides of the lips, we'll just drag a simple line down from the from between the eyes, and here will be our end of the lips. You can simply draw it. As we place these features, keep in mind that they aren't just shapes that are attached to the face. They are influenced by the muscles and soft tissues beneath the skin. We'll explore that in much greater detail in our next video, where we'll dive into the facial anatomy and muscles that are responsible for the expressions. Then in chapter 4, we'll learn about the mechanics of mouth, the eyes, and in the movement of lips. Now, also we'll learn about the construction of nose and ears in the same video. But until then, I urge you to keep practicing the foundation of ball and plane method, and also keep in mind the proportions of the head. You can also move ahead and start practicing how to draw the eyes, the nose, and ears by using the reference from books or internet. Now at the end, thanks a lot for being in the video, and I will see you in the next one.